Let's speak about the main man, Thomas Frank, because if you look at the stats and if you look at where we are in the league, goal scores, goals conceded, it's looking all right. It's not looking too bad at all. However, I mean, that home form is dreadful. The away form is absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
And from what I ever remember of being a Spurs fan, we're good at home, we're shit away. Yep. Now it's like a complete opposite.
Yep.
We've won 3 games at home in the calendar year, which is just mad. It's madness.
Yep.
3 in the calendar year. And look, you can't put all that down on Thomas Frank because Ange Postecoglou was there for the majority of it. But we haven't won a home game for 3 months. And that is what you can put down on Thomas Frank for sure. There's plenty of ways which, you know, we can make the team better. You look at the way we're playing our football right now, it's not the greatest, particularly at home. We need to be more on the front foot. We need to be a bit attacking. And let's have a chat about what we think Frank can do to kind of make us better, make us tick a bit more. What is the actual issues right now?
For me, as we've said many a time, it's not having 2 left-footed left-backs for balance. I think we've seen, no matter what happens, and like I said, when we talk about this isn't a put down on Jed Spence, because he's been terrific defensive-wise. He's been brilliant, and obviously he's naturally a right-back. But obviously going forward, he slows things down. His lack of faith and trust and confidence in his left foot is there for all to see. I'm left-footed myself. I'll be the same on the right wing. My right foot is atrocious. But you see when Destiny's on, whether it's been the game against Brighton, the little run he had, or when he came on against United and started on Wednesday. So I think that is a massive issue. And then you've got, for me, the other thing is the midfield, the right combination we've got to find. And then obviously up top, we've had Solanke out. Richarlison, unless he's on the score sheet, doesn't do anything. And then we've got Mawani, who we've literally seen for 3 games, and he's injured again. So he's got no striker. Obviously, we could talk about as well some of his team selections have been strange, to say the least. But there's a few things that he can change, but some of them I think are out of his control until January.
Well, let's talk about the left-hand side, because I think you're 100% right in what you speak about with Jed Spence. Obviously, Frank's hands have been tied behind his back on that because Udogi's had his injury problems this season. Udogi is back now, and Frank said at the end of the game against Manchester United that Udogi was fully fit and he didn't play due to a tactical reason. And I just don't understand, we mentioned it on the watch line, I just don't understand, what tactical reason did he go for Jed Spence and Richarlison out on the left-hand side? It just makes no sense to me when you can see every time Udogi and Odebear are out on the left-hand side, they have this synergy about them. Udogi goes on the outside, Odebear can cut in the middle. They cause such problems between each other. Odebear can get down to the touchline, get crosses in the box, and we saw it when they were both on the pitch in the latter stages of that game. Those 2 players created more than us and any of the players that we had on the pitch that day. So he has to go to that now for the foreseeable future. They need to be a long run of games now where Udogi's left back and Odebear is on the left wing. I think that is the first point of call, in my opinion, for Frank. It makes, because all season we've been saying, all our players focus down the right-hand side. It's all down through Kudus. Well, Odebear and Udogi on the left-hand side changes that completely.
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, I didn't know that part about Destiny until you just said that, actually, because after...
Well, I didn't actually see him here. I didn't even see him say it. I just saw what Sim said.
Okay. I after we left here, I do what Thomas Frank does now. After a win, 24 hours of celebrating. After a defeat, 24 hours, just forget it, put it back in mind, then go again. So I didn't look at anything after we left the studio. Joe and Ariane was on the fan show and he said about Richarlison being because they thought Ahmad was going to play. If that was what he thought, I can kind of understand. Okay, you wanted to be top heavy, you wanted to get someone that could get at him, and that's something Richarlison does. The Destiny one, I don't get at all.
Yeah, because
the Destiny one just blows my mind.
Because as a manager, you got to see that for the majority of the season, however much I value Jed Spence, I love Jed Spence. I think he's a really good player. I think he's letting some some, not such great things creep into his game this season a little bit. It's a bit of sloppy play. But all in all, I think he's had a fairly good season, decent season. Defensively, no problems with him whatsoever. Yep. But he impacts our play in a negative way so much down that left-hand side where he always has to check back. No fluidity down that left-hand side, and we can't build up attacks there when he's on the left. So for him to say that Udogie was not there for a tactical reason, it just does. I just can't get my head around it.
Yeah, that one blows my mind. I can't, for the life of me, think why. Obviously, he has his reasons we won't all know. But you would think when you look at our team, we have played our best football and looked the most threatening when we can go down both flanks. When Destiny's got to work on his crossing. He's got to work on his crossing. But you saw when he came on. We were so far forward on the left, he cut into the box a couple of times, the final ball let him down. And then the most incredible thing was when Jed Spence went back on the right, he ran past his man and he whipped in one peach of a cross that was going straight to
He can finally get to the byline.
Yeah, he didn't have any pause for thought or anything. He just bombed down that right wing, crossed in a beautiful ball, and it was brilliantly defended and went out for a corner in case Richarlison's gobbling it up. It was a fantastic cross, and he has got that. But the power and pace of Destiny, this is the only thing I can possibly think of is maybe because he's the only one and he has had injuries, he doesn't want to risk it. But for a game like United, I wish he would have, especially seeing they're going for international duty. But it's night and day with him. And like I was speaking to you in the car a few days ago, what I also think Jed Spence does when he cuts in, as he cuts in and he plays it backwards or sideways, if we are on a break, we're using Jed Spence pace on the left. When he cuts in, it allows all the team to get the opposition to get back into their place.
Correct.
Xavi's pocket of space
Correct.
may have gone. Then it's going to Paulinho or Bentancur or whoever the two is, and they've got nowhere to pass it apart from back. And that's not. It is on Jed because he's slowing the game down, but he can't do what Destiny does because he ain't got a left foot.
Yeah, so essentially what you're saying is we can't catch the opposition out
Exactly.
On a quick transition because Jed's always going to kind of cut back when Udogie's there. That's exactly what you can do, and that's what he's really good at.
Exactly.
But if Jed was on the right-hand side, you can do it.
Correct.
Because, look, for me, Pedro Porro's not playing well enough at this moment in time to retain his spot in the team. I think that, look, he's played crazy amount of football over the past couple of years. He hasn't missed a game this season in the Premier League. Last season under Ange, he was playing literally every game as well. Never got a rest. So is he running out of gas a little bit? I don't know. I can't speculate on what's going on with Pedro Porro right now. But the fact is, I think he needs a bit of time out of the team. The last two league games for him, I think, have been really poor. The Chelsea game and the Manchester United game. It's just like he's doing things that are just so uncharacteristic, where his passing, his crossing, his ball playing ability are just not there. So for me, we need to persist now, at least for a couple of games, especially for the North London derby, with Jed Spence and Udogie. And I actually think Jed Spence and Udogie as the fullbacks are the closest thing that we've got to like a Danny Rose and Kyle Walker kind of combination. Yeah,
I mean, you look at Pedro Porro as a player, he's my second favourite player, but like you said, he has played so much football. And you look at it, when you've got Destiny there, and please God, another left-footed left-back, that is great competition. And there are certain games where the attributes of Spence is going to suit a defence, and there's certain games where the attributes of Porro. And the greatest fullbacks we had was under the Poch season, where he rotated those two heavily, on both flanks, because he knew how important in modern day football that position they are. And obviously Trippier had his odd injury, Danny Rose had his odd injury. So it's vital. I think those two, the left back, right back, and the number 6 are probably the most important things in modern day. For the way it's played now, they're just all energy, all impact. And whereas we used to love it with the flair players and everything getting forward and the Mavericks, fullbacks and a DM has become massive parts of modern day football. And you need to have quality and then fresh. And Pedro Porro, more than anyone, he has been overplayed over and over again through the managers. He came under Conte, then Ange came, overplayed. But that was also, he didn't have a decent enough right back or didn't trust Spence, and then Spence broke through. Now it's Spence on the left. I think you've got great competition, and that will also spur Porro on to want to do better. and give him the rest he needs. So I think having Spence and Porro battle it out can actually improve Porro.
I agree with that. So that's obviously one aspect that Frank needs to change, and I think it will do us the world of good, and surely he can see it.
Yep.
After the international break, no setbacks to Udogie. That's got to be the way that we move forward. Another aspect is the midfield, because you look at the midfield, I don't know if Frank actually knows what our best midfield is. A large part of the season, he's gone for Paulinho, Bentancur. In the away games, it's worked. In the home games, it just hasn't worked whatsoever. Not enough ball progression there. We saw against Copenhagen, he put Bentancur there on his own. I thought it was probably the best midfield performance that we've seen from anyone this season in terms of being able to break up play, being able to screen the back four, but on top of that, being able to progress the ball up the pitch. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And then obviously in the next game, in the Manchester United game, he switched it and he went for Paulinho in the middle of the park. And I think it was a step backwards, in my opinion. And I'm starting to think, like, as much as I love João Paulinho, and I think he's been brilliant this season, he really has, is João Paulinho an actual problem in this team? Because, like I said, I love him, and I'm really happy we signed him. And I think in certain games, particularly away from home, he holds such a value. But in the games, like against Manchester United, when we want to take the game to the opposition, when we're at home, when we're on the front foot, should João Paulinho be playing?
It's a very, very tough conversation. Because you look at it already, we all knew what we were getting when we got Paulinho. We were getting a tackling machine. We're getting a guy that sliding tackles better timing than anyone, I would say, in the league for sliding tackles, for sniffing out danger. And for years we've wanted one. I think of the best ones we had, obviously, Wanyama. You look at Dembele, you look at when we signed Wilson Palacios. They were all there to do that dirty work, so to call. Just get the ball, pass it on, and be done with it.
But you not think football has moved on since that time, though, in terms of just having a destroyer in the middle? Because you look at all the top teams now and all the players they have as sixes, they all do so much more than just breaking up the play. You look at a Moises Caicedo, you look at even a Zubamendi, you looked at Rice last season, you look at Rodri, you know, these kind of players, they're so good on the ball. Like, they're unbelievable on the ball, and they could all break up play. Maybe they don't put in as many tackles as João Paulinho does, which is fair enough, but they can all progress the ball up the pitch.
They can, and Paulinho's not as bad as people are making it. Not as bad, but there are better, and it's something we are severely lacking. And that's why when we're doing the talking about Gomez, I think you put Gomez with him, issue gone. You've bought better players. It will be give the ball to Gomez. Gomez will do the rest, or whoever that player in that position may be. I think, again, the Jed Spence factor on the right or left has been hampering that. But I do think when you look back at the Bentancur performance against Copenhagen, especially at home, that is the kind of midfield performance you want from that position, where he did dictate play, he was breaking the lines, he was trying to go forward. Xavi was having a field day because he was pigging the balls and fizzing them through quickly. So I think playing them together is definitely something that's not been working. We've tried it. Away, it works, we know it. At home, which is what you look at our home form, as we were discussing at the beginning, is finding that right formula. And people, it's amazing how people go, oh, it was only Copenhagen, but then when we used Bentancur's performance, it was like, oh, that's brilliant. Not you, but you know what I mean? This is what our fan base is like. We're all like it. But I think Bentancur showed signs of the old Bentancur in that game, with his passing, his attention to detail, and also sniffing out danger. Paulinho is just more robust and more energetic, and literally those sliding tackles and breaking up play, which all the fans love seeing, that kind of tackle, isn't it?
Yeah, and look, he's a highly valuable player to have in the squad. Such a valuable player to have in the squad, but is he that player that should play every single game, no questions asked? I don't think he is.
Well, we said as well when we signed him at 30 years old, he might, coming back from Bayern Munich and having an injury-ravaged season there, that maybe he can't do that.
Like, you look at the game at the Emirates this weekend, next weekend, like, he has to play that game.
Oh, $1,000,000,000.
When we go away to a big team, like when we go away to PSG, he has to play that game. When we go away to the Etihad, when we go away to Anfield, you know, these kind of stadiums, he has to play. But then, like, when you're playing at home, let's say to a Manchester United, when we're playing at home to Fulham in a couple of weeks' time, like, I don't think he needs to play. I think you just put Bentancur in the 6 on his own, and look to him to replicate that kind of Copenhagen performance. That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I mean, I go back to as well what I loved on the first day of the season when we beat Burnley. It was Bergvall, Gray Sarr, wasn't it? Was none of them Bentancur and Paulinho. He said, here you go, you three youngsters, you're going to get the run out, you're going to get the nod. And Sarr had a very good game. Bergvall's okay. Archie Gray grew into the game immensely in the second half. And that could be the future of it. But there is definite games that when you look at the fixture list, you go, that's a Paulinho game. And there's certain games where you go, that is a Bentancur game. And I think at home, maybe there should be more Bentancur games than Paulinho, and probably the other way around for the big away games. And then you've got the big ones, as we said, like the NLD, where I think we all know it's going to be both of them if they come back fit, isn't it? And rightfully so. And rightfully so.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's also another aspect where Frank needs to look at the makeup of the midfield. What do you think is actually our strongest midfield, our strongest three? Because I'm not saying like...
What are we talking about for a home game?
Yeah, let's say just like for a home game where we're the favourites on... Like let's say for the Manchester United game, let's take that game as an example. What do you think our best midfield is?
Well, obviously, you've got to look at it. We couldn't have had Bergvall because of concussion, but if he would have been fit...
Yeah, I'm saying with him fit. For me...
Bentancur, Bergvall, Simmons.
Bentancur...
Or Bentancur, Sarr, Simmons.
Yeah.
For home.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, I would agree with that. It's got to be Bentancur, depending who you're playing, a Bentancur or Paulinho, whether I'm signing with Bentancur, with one or Sarr or Bergvall. It depends how... If you need a pure runner in the midfield, you go for Sarr. If you need more of the kind of like the ball carrying and the drive and more of a chance creation, you go for Bergvall. So I would like to see the makeup of a Bentancur, Bergvall, Javi. I think that would be brilliant for us.
I mean, if you look at it as well, what you got to look at it, if we were to do this, and this was the thing for home games, what we've got to remember as well, as we're saying, home games, to have a Paulinho on the bench to come on and see a game through, or it's an incredible show of strength to be able to say, right, we need to close the game out. Paulinho's coming on for whoever the sub is.
Yeah.
Go do what you do for 20 minutes, 25, whatever it may be, and vice versa with Bentancur, and vice versa with all of them. You look at it, I still go back and I look at it now, and could you imagine if it had been one of them two, Morgan Gibbs-White, Simmons? I don't think this is even a discussion that we're having. I think that midfield and what Morgan Gibbs-White offers is exactly what we're lacking. Yes, he's not got the great start at Forest recently, and obviously we know all the turmoil that's been going on there, but I think it shows how important a player like that would have instantly changed his midfield. But like we said, should it be a Paulinho or a Bentancur on the bench if he was to only play with one of them? What an incredible substitution to be able to have ready at Frank's disposal to go, right, on you go.
He needs to also fix the dynamic in the team where Javi just looks so isolated, and there just doesn't seem to be any players around him when he's going. Look, if you look at the snapshots from the Manchester United game, I mean, Javi was picking up all sort of different pockets of space and great positions to have the ball in. And he ended up losing it every time because there was no one to pass to.
Yep.
Even when he comes back and drops deep and wins the ball back, like there's just nothing around him. So there needs to be more options in the forward area. And how does he fix that?
So first of all, what I will say with that is I think Spurs' lack of movement up top has been an issue for a very, very long time. Consistently, not flashes and everything. It's been a long thing, not just happened since Frank's been here, but it is happening right now. You just look at what we've got available up top and what we've had to do. We go into our season where you'd probably say Solanke was our first choice striker, wouldn't you? Obviously his injury and whatever's going on with that and his return. Then you go, okay, it's Richarlison. And then obviously the most incredible thing this season is he stayed fit the whole season. Then you look down the line, obviously we got Mawani in because of Solanke, who he can't keep fit. Then you got Matisse Tell, and obviously Scarlett had a little cameo. That's not a Champions League team that strikers, like you look at all the Champions League strike forces, and I mean strikers generally, they've all got one or two ruthless goal scorers that will bag you 20 goals a season.
Arsenal don't have it.
Well, they've got their man. They're scoring goals from everywhere, though, aren't they? Gyökeres is off to a very, very slow start, but they went and got their striker. And that was the one pit that was missing. They got Saka, they got Martinelli, they got Trossard who chips in. They've got players that chip in all the time and from all over the place. They need to strike. You look at TK, Isaac. You look at Newcastle, lose Isaac, go get who they got within the same window.
Yeah, Visser and Voltmader.
Yeah. You look at our strike force going into a Champions League, whether that was Frank not having the time to get the one he wanted, Wissa or whoever it may
We got Moani, though.
Got Moani, but obviously got a dead leg. He could have been the answer.
You can't account for that, though, can you?
No, that's what I'm saying. So his strike force that we've had has been Moani, which we've had probably, for 4 games?
Yeah.
In the whole of the season. No Solanke. Richie, who, let's face it, unless he's on the score sheet, is not really doing much. And then we keep chopping and changing. I mean, Kudus, let's get it right. Kudus has been an overwhelming success, and we see how bad we miss him. But there's just been a problem. And Xavi Simons, we've seen, getting back to him, the last 2 games, we've definitely seen more from him. It's like his confidence is growing, his belief in himself. He's finding these pockets of spaces. But like you said, and rightfully so, he breaks through, and it's like, where is everyone? Like, normally he'll have the Dutch team flying by him, or where he's sat and been with them for years, put a ball off here, ball off there. And that will come. But I think we are lacking so badly in movement up top. And that's a massive part of the game.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of areas that Frank needs to work on and needs to get a lot better in terms of our general outlook and our general play. But the one thing is with Thomas Frank, like, it just never seems like we're out of the game. No. Which is a massive positive. Obviously, there's a couple of games where we've got lucky in this season where Vicario's just made worldie after worldie. You know, you look at the Monaco game, you look at the Chelsea game, you look at even the Boda game to a certain extent. Like, those 3 games, if we would have lost by 4 goals, you're probably not batting an eyelid, you know what I mean? And that's what probably we deserved in those games. But I think by and large, even if we're second best on the day, we're able to stay in the game. And, you know, how many games we lost in the league this season? 3 games in the league this season. We're sitting, 5th or 6th, wherever we are. I think from the start of a managerial tenure with, you know, so much to do, finishing 17th last season, 22 losses, from a purely results perspective, I'm content with the way it's gone so far. I'm just more concerned about the kind of aspects that I've spoken about before. And look, I fully believe in Frank. You know, I'm a massive fan of Thomas Frank, and I think it will get better, and it can get better, and he's got it within him to like coach this team to get better. And you got to remember as well, it's just like, we'll get into this aspect in a minute, but the forward players, he's coaching them on the ground at this moment in time. Some of them are getting better. The majority of them are getting better. And that is him. That is what Thomas Frank does. He's shown it at Brentford consistently with many different players. So that as well is what gives me confidence about Spurs are going. I think Spurs are going in the right direction. I just think it's going to take a little longer than maybe we all anticipated and all thought.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, would you rather be losing or not winning, drawing games and playing really good football and hovering around the lower part, the bottom half of the table, relegate, or would you rather be very, very hard to beat, picking up points regularly, whether it be draws or wins, and in the top 6 and let the football come and develop, which it will. I've got no doubt in my mind that it will do. We were talking to Sammy beforehand off camera. I would rather be playing football that's not the amazing quality standard and progressing up the table and hopefully try to win an FA Cup, try to break into the top 4 and then let the football develop rather than the other way round. He needs time, he'll get time, and yes, the football hasn't been the greatest. But like I said, 6th, undefeated in the Champions League. Yes, we got out of the Carabao Cup. One of the best defences, one of the highest goal scorers. I mean, you look at it, it's like, what can we do here in November? In November.
Yeah. So look, like I said, a lot of things to work on. We here in the studio are in full belief that Frank can get it right and will get it right. And it's a great starting block to go on, being 6th in the league, but the other way to look at it is that it's so bunched together, and with these games that we've got coming up, Arsenal away, Newcastle away just round the corner as well, which we don't have a good record there, it can turn very quickly.
Well, remember, we've had 2 opportunities as well, Aston Villa and this one, just gone, where if we'd won, we would have gone second. We would have gone second. But obviously, Villa, we didn't show up in the second half. United, we gave a last-minute goal, but we could have been second in the Premier League as we speak. Obviously, the results that came Sunday may have altered that. And I know I think we're 8 points off top and also 8 points off bottom 3. It's November.
Yeah.
It's November. I think you get your Kudus and your Kulusevski back. Obviously, Kudus will be back a lot quicker. I think Kulusevski adds incredible strength and a quality we've been missing in this team, his drive, his power. Things will only get better. I've got no doubt in my mind. And like I said, I am Thomas Frank's first line of defence. You and me are fully Frankish. We will get there. He will be held in very high regard, hopefully by the end of the season. And we can march on together.
Absolutely. A couple of super chats to get into.